All right. Oh, okay. And then, all right, great. So welcome. My name is Melissa Williams, and I am here in front of the Feiro Marine Life Center. You can see our building there in the background. And today I am bringing you Wednesdays in the Wild. Sorry, we are a few minutes late today. There's been a lot going on this morning. All right, so I'm again kind of trying out some new equipment. In addition to this microphone that doesn't really have a great place to sit, we have a new device that we're using to hopefully make everything a little less bouncy. So the last few weeks we've done Wednesdays in the Wild. It's been a pre-recorded video, and today we're back with you live today. So I'm going to flip our camera around. I'm here in the outdoor classroom, so we're going to talk a little bit about this space. The outdoor classroom was a project that started actually about 2 years ago. We were able to conceive of this upgrade to the outdoor space in front of our building on City Pier with our awesome volunteer facilities committee, and the goal there was to try and make the area in front of the building, which had been just this kind of sandy spot, a little more amenable to people actually using it. So you will see oftentimes when we have school groups come by that the kids are sitting outside. We've used the steps at City Pier, we've used the stage at City Pier, we've used the grass at City Pier, and this actually just gives us something a little more permanent that we can use for teaching. It has obviously a terrific view of the Hollywood Beach and the Port Angeles Harbor. And so we were able to get a ton of volunteer support to really upgrade this space. So I don't really have a great before picture while I'm going live, but I want to show you, if you look at this old railroad tie, it's pretty worn down. That is what the quality of the railroad ties were previously, and these different beds, these kind of flower ended with the railroad tie about at ground level. So we obviously can't really sit very well when you're about to the ground, and they had eroded quite a bit. And so the volunteer committee did an amazing job designing and putting this space together. So I want to thank so many people for helping get this going. And we're going to do a little tour, and we'll talk about some of the plants that are here and why certain things made it into this space. So first of all, on the facilities committee, we have Jack Galloway, and he has been the real driving force of design and the installation and planting of all of these different elements. Jack is retired from the Olympic National Park. He was their landscape architect for many, many years, and our community has just had so many great projects that he's been designed and installed. And so we're really lucky that we are able to use his expertise on the facilities committee. Steve Zenovic, he is an engineer here in town, and he also was a huge driving force on this project. He actually is responsible for this ramp. Previously, as you might see here, we just had steps going down onto the sandy flat area in front, and obviously for folks that are mobility challenged or in wheelchairs, that was just not really possible for them to get down. So Steve and the Nor'Wester Rotary team, which includes Jason Grice Construction, actually fabricated and built this wonderful ramp and seating area, and it really enables people to get down here, to get closer to the water, to come and enjoy a beautiful day like this one. We're so lucky to have good weather today, and participate in the learning opportunities that happen down here. So that was a huge feature of this project. Now this is on city property, and so we were able to get a grant from the City of Port Angeles lodging tax to do this improvement. The grant doesn't pay for labor, it just paid for materials. So that was why it was so instrumental for all these great volunteers, skilled volunteers, to be a part of this. This was not something that just went up in a day. This took about a year to figure out. So then you might ask, now that we're sitting here, what are we surrounded by? So we were able to build out these planter spaces. This just got planted and built out earlier this year. So you can see it's not quite as it doesn't blossom quite as much as the other space, but we actually put native coastal plants in these planters. And why is that important? Well, it's important for a couple of reasons. So first of all, we are near saltwater, and that has a real influence on all of the plants that surround it, the kinds of plants that thrive here in a very high saline atmosphere. So if you look around at the beach, you can see lots and lots of things that look like grasses. And so we had the benefit of working with the Natural Resources Department from the Lower Elwha Klallam tribe, who's doing a beach restoration project over on Edith's Hook. And they gave us a plant list that they were using to restore native plants. And so we were able to use their list, go to a regional nursery and get hundreds of plants, bare root plants, to plant in this space. And one of the benefits of the other benefits of native coastal maritime planting is, in addition to being tolerant to high salinity or high salt environments, they also don't use very much water. So other than when we watered them in when they first went into the ground, which is most of last summer, you can see how well these plants are thriving with the natural rainfall in this region. We don't have to go out here now and water them a bunch. They are fully planted in and growing and able to adapt quite well. The other thing that's obviously important is that these plants also act as food for pollinators. So I was trying to find some flowering ones here. Let's see, we'll go down here. So you can see some of these are starting to come out with flowers. You kind of get a better look there. And there's some purple headed flowers I'll come down to here. There you go. So these plants are able to provide great pollinator habitat. So in addition to not taking up very much extra fresh water, they are also feeding bees and butterflies and moths and all kinds of other pollinating insects that make their home here. And of course, we love pollinators because we love to eat. Pollinators are critical in our food supply. All right, so the other thing I want to mention are these great waves. These first 3 waves here were fabricated, again, pretty much materials only by the welding club up at Peninsula College, the welding, not club, but the welding class up at Peninsula College. So this was a wave pattern designed by Jack Galloway, and the students were able to take the pattern and then try to figure out how to reinforce the design. Cutting arcs like this is not very easy, and so you'll see some of the over-unders they had to do, the detail work with these welds. They really did a fabulous job making these first 3 waves. And after that, we were able to get a second grant to have the rest of the waves professionally fabricated. So this is what would happen after a student graduates from the welding program. They would go into business, right? And oops, we phone shift a little bit. And then these are the fabricated waves from a local business. So All Form Welding did these. So we feel pretty proud that we're able to use this money to support an artistic piece, an element, provides kind of a barrier for folks between the seat wall here where they're sitting and the plants, and also is an artistic piece that was fabricated locally. So that was pretty cool. All right, and then last but not least, I want to mention the fish. Sorry, I'm going to walk back over here and talk about the fish for a second before we do some plant ID. So these fish are repurposed from a student art project that we ran for a number of years with local students. So your friends or family might have actually created these fish. These are ceramic fish. They don't always stay in one piece, but these were part of habitat studies that the students did, where they learned about the importance of watersheds, and then made ceramic and in some cases marine grade plywood, which were a little too big to fit on our new fence, which then went on to our neighboring property over at the Landing Mall for a very long time. Landing Mall is redoing its entire exterior. It looks really good if you get a chance to go over there and check it out. And so we were able to remove some of these pieces and repurpose them into this new space. So you can see we have a little bit more volunteer work to do. Not all the waves are filled with fish. They will be eventually, but we're super excited that this is a student project again from here in our local schools. Okay, so I made some plant ID sheets, and we're gonna go on a little tour here, and I'm gonna try not to mess up the sound while we do this. A lot of things going on with my hands right now. Okay, so we're gonna see if we can identify some of these. So Jack comes down here actually and weeds and makes sure everything looks right, and so I'm gonna do my best job to honor his work by getting these IDs correct. So the one I really know is the coastal strawberry. So you can see there's a little flower, a little white flower there. This is a Fragaria chiloensis. Again, yes, this technically would produce a fruit. I don't see any fruits at the moment, but we really haven't hit flowering stage quite yet, so you never know what will happen. But it's a great ground cover. You can see it's filled in quite a bit here. When the plants went in, we only had probably about 100 of them, and now it looks like we have about 600 of them. And so they've really taken over. And this is, again, one of those elements of native landscaping that really works, because you don't actually need a ton of weeding when you have something like this taking up space in your bed. Okay, now we're gonna get to the slightly harder IDs. I'm gonna go down here to the little purple flowers that we were looking at earlier. All right, let's see. You can kind of see that. I believe this is the Sea Thrift, but I'm just gonna double check my cheat sheet here and make sure that I'm correct. Again, all of these plants are salt tolerant coastal plants and low need for external watering. They've grown really well in the last year. Yes, I do believe this is the Sea Thrift. So Armeria maritima, and I'll show you my cheat sheet. So it can get really pink in the printer ink. Ours are a little purpley. That could just be a function of the picture that I used off the internet. And let's see what we got over here. Some yellow flowers. Oh yeah, that is a coast gumweed. Okay, so here is the yellow flower. I think you can see it looks an awful lot like a dandelion. This plant has a number of kind of early flower heads, kind of sappy there. That's the gum part. Coastal gumweed, not a dandelion, actually a native coastal plant. So we're going to keep those in there. Again, when we got them, they were very tiny, just a few inches tall, and they have really flourished over the last year. Jack did have to come down and water in the bare root plants for the first year. So every 2 or 3 days over the summer, just to make sure they were able to take root. You can see here's a bunch of gumweed here, all ready to hopefully bloom soon. You can see here's some that are just starting to pop. And they have really just taken off. So this year we're in a much better position than we were last year in terms of watering. Hardly any watering required. All right, let's see. Lots and lots of gumweed, lots and lots of gumweed. I'm gonna try to go on the other side and see about our grasses. So that's another easy to grow coastal plant. Well, here's some good flowers in the strawberries. See, this is a shadier spot, so things are going to grow differently in the shade and the sun. All right, let's see what we've got over here. Okay, there's some clover. We didn't actually plant that. That just ended up in there. I don't think it's too bad, so we're going to keep it. Okay, let's see. Here are our grasses. All right, let me see if I can get out of this shadow. Okay, so coastal grasses. We have several different subspecies of coastal grasses. I'm not going to attempt all of them, but we've got a large-headed sedge. We've got a sand dune sedge. We have a American dune grass, or also called a dune wild rye. That's a good plant for sandy areas. And then Linby's sedge. So actually I think this one that we're looking at now is the Linby's, L-Y-N-G-B-Y, Linby's sedge. It has kind of a brownish head on it, not too big of a head though. And we also have some seashore saltgrass, and that's the taller one here. Let me see that. It gets pretty big actually. When we worked on this, the park district gave us a height requirement, so nothing that we planted could go above about 2 or 3 feet tall. Although there is some tall things in here, they're not going to get much bigger than this. So you can see the grasses make a really nice, again, kind of growing in, filling in close together. Not a lot of weeding, although there is some weeding obviously, but not a ton. Okay, so we also then planted these out on the sandy part here. They grow differently, much more slowly in the sandy area. We had to amend some soil into the sandy area to actually get them to grow much at all. But you can understand that, right? So they're growing a little more slowly in the sandy area than they are in this nice deep soil-filled planter bed. So the last thing I want to mention is our interpretive sign. So this is a sign designed by Chris Warnock. He lives over in between Port Angeles and Sequim, and he did a really great job capturing what makes this place so special. So as you know, City Pier, Feiro Marine Life Center are on the traditional lands of the Lower Alwa-Clallam tribe and the Clallam peoples. And so we definitely wanted to honor that and to make that clear. We've got a way that you can click into the Clallam website to get more information about all of the things that they're doing and the museum and other opportunities. But we also have this idea that what you're looking at is not just what's sitting on the land, but also what's under the water. So underneath here, where the boat is, that's an eelgrass habitat. It's a great place for fish and crustaceans to hide, to gain nutrients, and to grow. We obviously have those native plants that we talked about. High and low tides are really evident on Hollywood Beach. Sort of a higher tide right now. This is a place where people visit and we all spend time, and some tips on the sign for how you can keep it trash free and otherwise as undisturbed as possible. So this is a great space for animals, for humans, for plants, and it's a perfect ecosystem where we can all learn about each other and learn about how special this area is. So I hope you have a chance to come out here one day, eat your lunch, sit in the sun, watch the boats, watch the birds, and just enjoy yourself. This summer, as we get to reopening, hopefully we'll be able to have some of our animal encounters out here on the deck so that we can do some things outside, and we will keep you tuned on when that's going to be. We're still working on a few minor details. All right, I'm just gonna scroll through and make sure I didn't get any questions. If you have any questions, please let me know. Okay, I don't see any. If you do have a question, feel free to leave it in the comment box and we'll get to it as soon as we can. Otherwise, I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day, and thanks for taking this Wednesdays in the Wild tour of our outdoor classroom. Take care.